Industrialization has a profound impact on food economies, agricultural production models, and in particular on people's access to and control of food productive resources such as land, water, seeds, forests, and fishing grounds.
Food is such a microcosmos of the problems, dependency on oil, exploitation of people, exploitation of our natural resources, pollution, etc. What happens with this is that what then drives the decision is not the consumer interest, not the interest of the community or the health of the animals or the health of the planet, it's just the bottom line of these companies.
Farmers have been saving seed for thousands of years. However, Monsanto's patent on GE Roundup Ready soy has made this illegal. Farmers are now locked into buying new seed every year.
What is farm outsourcing? It's the capital-rich countries purchasing land in poor African nations to grow food crops and then shipping majority of the produce back home to ensure their own food security. The food importers are investing 10 times more than World Bank in agriculture. And saying no to cash crops, the food importers grow staple crops and biofuels.
Agricultural industry as a whole is one of the biggest polluters there are, and that was really apparent when Katrina hit and sort of the dead zone in the Gulf Coast was made apparent to a lot of people, and that's just because of agricultural runoff into the Mississippi.
I really can't help but have this prompt the question to me that if the confidence is there in the safety of these products, why is there so much objection to labeling?
Our relationship to food production, to agriculture, has moved dramatically away from much more subsistence-based and land-based forms of agriculture to industrialized forms of agriculture that essentially have resulted in a commodification of food in such a way that it is now simply an item to be bought and sold and traded on the market. The danger to that, of course, is that people who do not have the spending power, the economic ability to engage on an equal footing, can be left out.
Pollen can travel up to 4 kilometers. It knows no boundaries. And genetic modification is occurring on close to 100 million acres worldwide. It's going to be virtually impossible to keep a field from being contaminated in one way, shape, or form from genetic pollution.
The World Bank and IMF are conveniently forgetting that they have had a very big hand in creating the current crisis. Under structural adjustment for debt relief, through the 80s, through the 90s, they forced countries to give up their food stocks, to start becoming dependent on international markets. They have encouraged countries to stop growing staple foods and start growing flowers and lettuce and beans for export to the supermarkets in the north.
You wake up in the morning and look across the landscape and see hundreds of large poultry buildings and hog buildings. Kind of gives you an empty feeling in your stomach, because the land that they're built on will never produce feed grains again. I mean, it's rock and concrete. So you've taken some of the best producing land in the world out of production.
Find the government ever telling people to eat less of anything since then. Not allowed, bad for business.
We have government policies that promote overeating from the beginning to the end of the food chain.
If we don't get a handle on this, what's going to happen is that we're going to get kids developing illnesses at a very early age, and some of these illnesses can actually kill them.
It's not confined to the ground beef industry. It's pretty much how most of the food system is run. You know, we like to think that it's just fast food, but I'm afraid that fast food nation is now the entire nation.